And this is where I land. This is where I've landed on this tournament. And people are critical of it, and they can be critical of it. That's the beauty of having an opinion on professional wrestling. We can discuss ad nauseum. But for me, Gunther winning the tournament is what I want, what I think is important, what I think is the best case scenario. There's two matches that I absolutely want to see in John Cena's Final Four. His final two appearances that I want to see are John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio at Survivor Series in San Diego for the Intercontinental title, with John Cena losing to Dominic Mysterio. And that's the opportunity that you're looking for, right? He passed the torch to Cody as the next guy. So who's the young guy that he's going to give a rub to? Dominic Mysterio, when Dominic is able to defeat John Cena at Survivor Series. So where do we go after the tournament? Gunther wins the tournament. Gunther goes to Saturday night's main event. Gunther beats John Cena in the main event of the Last Time Is Now John Cena farewell match. And I know there are people who won't like it, but that's the point. Gunther is a bad guy. Gunther is a villain. And this is how you build a supervillain. This is how you build a supervillain in a way that you haven't had the opportunity to since maybe 2002. Not to just have somebody, and you could say, well, he's already been World Heavyweight Champion. Well, Gunther already is a main event bad guy. There's a difference between being a main event bad guy and an absolute supervillain. There's a difference between being a main event bad guy and Brock Lesnar. And you haven't had the opportunity to make another Brock Lesnar since 2002. You could argue later than that. WrestleMania 30, what was that, 2013-ish, off the top of my head?
2014.
2014, thank you, AJ. Same year he did SummerSlam, right? Right after WrestleMania 30. Beats The Undertaker's streak, destroys John Cena. Brock Lesnar is a new beast. And there is no way you can tell me. Some people will tell me, so maybe there is a way you could tell me, but you'd be wrong. Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker's streak and Brock Lesnar beating John Cena at the SummerSlam after WrestleMania 30 turned Brock Lesnar into a completely different Brock Lesnar. Those two matches were what turned Brock Lesnar into the guy that would destroy Kofi Kingston's win streak, that would that could go up and main event WrestleMania with Roman Reigns time and time and time again, that made him so massive, so indestructible, so infamous that in 2025, going into 2026, he's still the guy that is the centerpiece. He's still the guy playing poker at the table. He's still the guy on the poster. And you just don't have opportunities like that to make people like that. Number one, because they have to be the right person. And those people are extremely rare, but Gunther is one of those people. And number two, because you don't have the right circumstances to make that all happen all at once. In what other era could Brock Lesnar be able to have the debut year that he had that included beating The Rock for the world title at SummerSlam? It's The Rock. It'd be tough. In what other era could Brock Lesnar have beaten The Undertaker's streak and then destroyed John Cena in the same year? No other era. It had to happen in that one period of time. You now have the opportunity to do it again. To have Gunther have the type of year where he wins the World Heavyweight title, and he retires Bill Goldberg, and he retires John Cena. That's your hat trick right there. That's how you make a super heel that will last forever. You'll be able to have matches between Gunther and whoever you want for the rest of time. That, to me, is the best thing, because then you have John Cena, who's passed the torch to a babyface in Cody Rhodes. You have John Cena, who's put over a young guy in Dominic Mysterio. And then at the end of the tournament, you have John Cena, who's created a super villain again, which is Gunther. 877-344-4893, 877-344-4893. Let's go to John in Maryland. What's up, John?
All right, so I love your tournament. I love the winner. I kind of want a fancy book for after the tournament.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
After he wins the tournament, after Gunther wins and retires John Cena, he starts building to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
Okay, see, I feel differently because, and I'll tell you why I feel differently. I think eventually we get to Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. And by the way, it might happen. You might be right, John, because it's not a bad idea at all. For me, I feel differently because I feel like Gunther already got that rub. By being the other guy who beat John Cena, Gunther already got that rub. Now, you could argue that, of course, having Brock and Gunther, now there's only one that can stand on top, and you wouldn't be wrong. But for me, because I don't see a path for Braun Breaker to get a match with John Cena, I'd prefer Braun Breaker to be the one that faces Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Because then you're building somebody else, and now eventually you've got a scenario where maybe you could do Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. You could also do Gunther versus Braun Breaker after Braun Breaker has been the one guy that can beat this version of Brock Lesnar. So
what about we go even further? Let's say we get Gunther and Brock at Mania. Whoever goes over could be next for Braun, and he's a made man if he beats the one who beats Cena, Goldberg, and all that.
Yeah, I mean maybe, but for me, you've rushed through it at that point. For me, you could have two mountains for Braun to have to climb, and as opposed to one. You know what I mean? You're building one mountain for him to climb instead of two. You could have a year of Braun Breaker, or you could have a match of Braun Breaker. And I feel like I would go for the year. I would say, okay, now I've beaten Brock Lesnar. Now can I beat this guy? Maybe he can't beat Gunther right away. You know, that is where I would stand on it. Like, why wouldn't you rather see Braun Breaker be the one to beat Brock Lesnar and Gunther as opposed to only beating one of them?
I like that. I like it a lot.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's go to Casey in Philadelphia. What's up, Casey?
Hey, how are you? I'm in disagreement with having Cena lose his last two matches, and would much rather see him take that Intercontinental title and then lose that to Gunther, and it makes that even a bigger match.
Well, I don't think it does make it a bigger match. I mean, I think that if Gunther beats John Cena, and at the end of the day he's Intercontinental Champion, I think you've quantified that in oh, you're gone. Well, I think that if you have Gunther Intercontinental Champion after he beats John Cena, then by definition he's under the world champion. He's not. You could argue that if Gunther beats John Cena and retires both Bill Goldberg and John Cena in the same year, you could argue he's over the world champion. You could argue there's nobody built like Gunther. But if he's the Intercontinental Champion, then by definition, he's under the world champion. And you have to, and we've already seen Gunther as a dominant Intercontinental Champion. And you've now got to figure out a way to get the Intercontinental title off Gunther, as opposed to just allowing Gunther to live in this state of being on top of the mountain and completely untouchable. You've now got to figure out how to get the IC title off of him. And in the meantime, like, what about the fact that you're building up Dominic, who has got the potential to be as big a babyface as you could imagine? You've got this guy that everybody in every city loves, and you take his Intercontinental title, like John Cena beats him, and then his title goes to Gunther, and Dom's not going to beat Gunther after Gunther beats John Cena. So it doesn't work for me, pal. Let's go to Hal in Chattanooga. What's up, Hal?
Hey, bud, how you doing today, man?
Good.
I'm looking for something that can catapult somebody like John Cena was catapulted up the card when he did that angle with Kurt Angle. That took him from a brand new guy, shot him way up the card. Look at what happened with Jay when he won the Royal Rumble this past January. That shot him up to the main event. I would love to see this opportunity with the tournament catapult somebody who needs that kind of push that would catapult them up the card, and I think that would be Carmelo Hayes.
I have Carmelo going far in the tournament. I love Carmelo Hayes. But a couple of things. Number one, Jay got pushed to the main event because that's the stipulation of the Royal Rumble. The winner goes to WrestleMania. And number two, John Cena did not get pushed to the top of the card after he had that confrontation with Kurt Angle. John Cena was wrestling on velocity not long after that confrontation with Kurt Angle. John Cena has said many times that he almost got fired after that confrontation with Kurt Angle. This trajectory that you're speaking of does not exist. I think in terms of setting the most people up for success, because I think that's how you have to look at this stuff, is how can one decision not set the one guy up for the most success, but set the most people up for the most success, set the show up for the most success. And I think getting Gunther to this place is how you set this show up and the rest of the roster for the most success, because you know damn well Gunther is going to be on the show every week.